When our health system is stretched to the limit, it is often the nurses who hold it together. They're the front line in care, but it's a difficult and thankless task.
They're led to believe that there's nothing wrong with the system, but there is.
Is patient care today as good as it was?
No, and
20,
I don't think the
30 years
patient's
ago?
any better off now than they were before.
It's not the glamorous job. It's just not a glamorous job.
They don't always go home satisfied because they don't feel that they've done the best job they can do for their patients.
Some of the things that do happen, you shake your head.
There's 150 years of experience between them. Fiona, a 32-year veteran of the wards. David, 34 years. Michelle, an intensive care nurse. Chris, 17 years at 6 different hospitals. Sharon, a palliative care nurse. Karen, who's worked 31 years at the same hospital. And Robert, who nurses folk with severe disabilities and mental illness. Oh, how things have changed.
Just going to move you through there and take...
Medically, we live in the best of times.
The pacemaker sends an electrical signal
with great leaps in the development of life-saving technologies and drugs.
Our length of stay that the patients stay in has shortened because of that technology.
Nails going into people's fractured femurs, and when I first started, those people were in traction for up to 2 or 3 months. Now they might be in hospital for only a week.
But today's patient is changing.
People are now living longer. They're coming in sicker. You know, we see multiple traumas that come in. We also now see people getting bigger in society. You would need 4 staff to turn a patient.
Unfortunately, that's part of the care that has eroded with the types of care and the amount of care that we have to give.
So it was better decades ago.
Absolutely.
The material things are getting better, but as you'll hear tonight, the hands-on care is falling behind. Our nurses are struggling, and they know why, but remain committed.
What's it like working with people when you might be the last person that they deal with?
I have to make a difference. I have to do the right thing by my patient, you know, because I might be the last person. What their experience are, what their family's experience are, that's going to be with them. We're going to help them through that journey and the best way we can.
Regularly.
Really?
Yeah.
Patients and families?
Absolutely. And some of that stems from frustration, some of that stems from their expectation of care, some of that stems from the fact that they're not receiving communication around their care. With the patient loads that we get, we don't have the time that we'd like as nurses to sometimes sit down and explain something in detail to a patient or be able to listen to our patients.
You've got clients that will pinch you, scratch you, bite you, throw shoes at you, throw plates at you, and throw furniture.
Can I ask why you do it?
Because I love working with these particular clients. They have no one else. We're their family. Okay, and
these are people who might be 60 or 70 years of
right.
age. Their parents have passed. And
their parents have passed, or they were left there and totally disregarded, you know, left there on the doorstep. And, you know, we're their family.
Do things get missed?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That, you know, that patient's got to be seen quickly in ED. You know, try and work out what's wrong with them, send them to the appropriate ward if they're going to be admitted, which then puts pressure on the ward to get that next patient out, decreasing the stay of that patient because we're so rushed for beds that we need, you know, oh, that patient's got to go home because that one in ED's got to come in now, and oh, quick.
There's been a marked deterioration in the cleanliness of the hospitals in general.
Not just the cleaning, the maintenance as well. Because it's not just the cleaning staff that have decreased in their numbers. Maintenance staff have decreased in their numbers, and they've also had to become multitaskers as well.
I've been nursing for a long time, and I don't know that I've seen it this bad. with budgetary constraints, staff aren't being replaced.
When was the last time you had a full lunch break? Did you ever have a week where you had lunch every day?
No,
Never.
never.
I can't remember the last time I had lunch.
Every day, you go away from there feeling drained and tired. We're doing double shifts all the time, and our shifts are 8-hour shifts, so we're doing 16-hour days at times. Sometimes 2 to 3 times a week we do double shifts. I think I've had one public holiday off this year, one only. And you don't get, and we work every weekend. And I've had was it 3-4 months now without a weekend off. I get my first full weekend off next week.
And you don't want it to be that way. You'd rather have the time off, wouldn't you?
Well, I'd like to have a bit of a social life. Work every second weekend. I do not get to see any of my friends or my family.
They simply burn out. Young nurses are burning out because we're not actually giving them the support they need.
If they're off on holidays, there's no one to do their job while they're away. If they're off sick, it may just be a short while. On maternity leave, they could be off for 12 months and they won't be replaced. And it's all due to the budget restraints.
And I've often heard people comment, oh, there were 6 nurses and nobody came and helped me. And I say, well, there might actually have been 1 registered nurse there, 3 ANs and an EN. We've got different types of enrolled nurses. And then we've got assistants in nursing.
Who can't do the medications, can't do the IVs, can't do a lot of the complex dressings.
If you judge outcomes and looking at the type of patients that we have, there's no real difference. I mean, sure, you're in a nicer bed and your surroundings are probably more beautiful, but the outcomes are not necessarily any different.
That's nice to hear.
Sorry, a lot of them don't have medical staff after hours. Yeah. So come 5 or 6 o'clock, it's just the nurses. And I've worked in private hospitals where I've then had to call an ambulance and get that patient transferred to a public hospital.
If you're really sick, you want to be in a public hospital. A private hospital doesn't have the after-hours cover, doesn't have the services that they have in a public hospital.
The bureaucrats are running the system, aren't
That's
they?
right.
And it's
Too many layers. Too many layers. And we might be spending 1/3 of the budget on health. But I can't see it.
And it's very difficult with the bureaucrats. Sometimes they interpret things differently and they just say, well, we don't need those people, we can't get them, the sick leave's high, and we just plough on.
A lot of money is gobbling up when it could be used on the floor where it's needed.
There are policies in place to say that red tape needs to be diminished. I haven't seen that put into place yet. All we see is the red tape a lot of the time.
And so say our nurses, it is crunch time. Time for federal and state governments to stop the funding blame game. Time for spending less money on bureaucrats and directing it to the front line. And perhaps time for all of us to understand the pressures of these dedicated people.
I want to be more positive. I don't want to sit there talking about hospitals in a negative way. We need to get it together. We need the public on our side. We need to do this. Otherwise, if we leave, all of us walk out the door, who's going to look after the hospitals the way they should be looked after?
We still do it. We like doing it, love doing it.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Good on you.
Thank goodness they are there. We should declare tomorrow Thank a Nurse Day.